Principles of Understanding Artistic Design and Composition.
Hello, everyone. This is Sir Harold, and welcome to our lesson on Principles of Understanding Artistic Design and Composition. Have you ever wondered why some paintings immediately catch your attention? Why do some posters look organized and attractive, while others appear confusing? Or why certain designs look balanced, harmonious, and pleasing to the
1.
eyes?
Artistic design. It is the deliberate planning and arrangement of visual elements to
Artistic
communicate
design and
ideas
composition
effectively.
are fundamental in creating successful works of art and crafts. Whether an artist is creating a painting, sculpture, poster, textile, pottery, architectural design, or digital artwork, these principles help organize visual elements and communicate ideas effectively.
Artistic design is the deliberate planning and arrangement of visual elements to communicate an idea, emotion, or message. Composition, on the other hand,
2.
refers to how these
Composition.
elements are
It refers
organized
to the
and positioned
organization
within
and
artwork.
placement of
Together,
visual elements
artistic
within
design
an
and
artwork.
composition help artists create works that are beautiful, meaningful, organized, and visually engaging. The principles of design work together with the elements of art, such as line, shape, form, color, texture, value, and space. Remember, these principles are not strict rules. They are guidelines that help artists make thoughtful,
3.
creative decisions.
Balance.
What is
This
artistic
principle
design?
refers to the
Artistic
distribution
design
of
is the
visual
process
weight
of
in an
planning
artwork.
and arranging visual elements for a particular purpose. An artist carefully decides where to place colors, shapes, lines, textures, forms, and other elements so that they contribute to the overall appearance and meaning of the artwork. That a good artistic design is purposeful and well-planned, visually appealing, balanced, and harmonious, clear in communicating
4.
ideas,
Symmetrical
creative and
balance.
original.
This type
Appropriate
of
for its
balance has
intended
both
audience.
sides
In
identical
simple
or
words,
nearly
artistic
identical.
design is about making thoughtful choices when creating an artwork. Imagine looking at a painting. Your eyes may first notice a person's face, then move toward the background, the colors, and other objects. This movement of the viewer's attention is influenced by composition. That a well-composed artwork looks organized, balanced, and interesting. A poorly composed artwork may look confusing.
5. Radial balance. This type of balance has elements radiating outward from a central point. Underscore.
The first principle is balance. Balance refers to the distribution of visual weight within an artwork. Just as we need balance to keep ourselves from falling, an artwork also needs visual balance to prevent one area from appearing too heavy. There are 3 common types of balance. Symmetrical balance. Symmetrical balance occurs when both sides of an artwork are identical or nearly identical. Examples include formal portraits, religious architecture, and national emblems. Symmetrical balance often creates a feeling of stability, calmness, formality, order. Asymmetrical balance. Asymmetrical balance occurs when the 2 sides are different but still appear visually balanced. For example, a large dark shape on one side may be balanced by several smaller lighter shapes on the opposite side. Asymmetrical balance often creates a more dynamic, creative, informal, interesting composition. Radial balance. Radial balance occurs when elements radiate outward from a central point. Examples include mandalas, flowers, wheel spokes, sunflowers. So remember, balance creates stability in an artwork. 2. Emphasis. The second principle is emphasis. Emphasis creates the focal point of an artwork, the area that immediately attracts the viewer's attention. Artists can create emphasis by using bright colors, large objects, strong contrast, unique shapes, central placement, isolation. For example, imagine a painting where almost everything is gray, except for one bright red flower. Where will your eyes go first? Of course, the red flower. That is emphasis. Without emphasis, an artwork may appear monotonous because nothing stands out. 3. The third principle is contrast. Contrast refers to the noticeable difference between visual elements. Contrast creates excitement, drama, and visual interest. Examples include light versus dark, warm versus cool colors, smooth versus rough textures, large versus small objects, thick versus thin lines. Contrast can also help strengthen emphasis. For example, a bright object placed against a dark background immediately attracts attention. So, contrast helps artists create visual excitement and clarity. 4. UNITY, the fourth principle, is unity. Unity means that all parts of the artwork work together to create one complete visual experience. When unity is achieved, the artwork appears organized, connected, and purposeful. Artists can create unity through repetition, similar colors, consistent textures, related shapes, common themes. Think of unity as a team. Each member may be different, but everyone works toward the same goal, that I in the same way. Every element in an artwork should contribute to the overall design. 5. VARAY, the fifth principle, is variety. Variety introduces differences into an artwork to prevent it from becoming boring or repetitive. Artists can create variety by changing colors, shapes, sizes, lines, textures, patterns. Remember this simple idea. Unity creates harmony, while variety creates excitement. An artwork needs enough unity to feel connected, but enough variety to remain interesting. 6. RHWTHM, the sixth principle, is rhythm. Rhythm is created through the repetition of visual elements to produce a sense of movement. Just as music has rhythm through repeated beats, visual art can have rhythm through repeated shapes, lines, colors, patterns, or textures. There are different types of visual rhythm, including regular rhythm, alternating rhythm, progressive rhythm, flowing rhythm, random rhythm. For example, repeated patterns in traditional weaving can create a strong visual rhythm. Rhythm helps guide the viewer's eyes across the artwork. 7. MOVNT, the seventh principle, is movement. Movement refers to the visual path that leads the viewer's eyes through an artwork. Artists can create movement using curved lines, diagonal lines, directional shapes, repetition, perspective, color transitions. Imagine a painting of a road disappearing into the distance. Your eyes naturally follow the road. That is visual movement. Movement can make an artwork feel active and can even help tell a visual story. 8. PRON, the eighth principle, is proportion. Proportion refers to the relationship between the sizes of different parts of an artwork. Correct proportion can make objects appear realistic and harmonious. However, artists can intentionally change proportions to communicate an idea or emotion. For example, cartoon characters may have extremely large heads compared with their bodies. Religious or symbolic artworks may also intentionally exaggerate certain parts to emphasize their importance. Therefore, proportion does not always mean making everything realistic. Sometimes, changing proportion is an artistic choice. 9. The ninth principle is scale. Scale refers to the size of an object in relation to another object or to its surroundings. Think about a huge monument compared with a person standing beside it. The enormous size of the monument can communicate importance, power, or greatness. Examples of scale include monumental sculptures, large murals, miniature paintings, small jewelry pieces. Scale affects how viewers experience and interpret an artwork. 10. PRN, the 10th principle, is pattern. Pattern is created when visual elements are repeated in a predictable arrangement. Patterns are common in textile designs, wallpapers, ceramics, architecture, indigenous weaving. Patterns can be decorative, but they can also communicate cultural identity and tradition. For example, traditional weaving often uses repeated motifs that represent the history, beliefs, and identity of a community. Therefore, pattern is not simply decoration. It can also carry cultural meaning. 11. HRMONY, the 11th principle, is harmony. Harmony refers to the pleasing relationship among the different elements of an artwork. Colors, textures, shapes, and forms should complement one another. When harmony is achieved, the artwork often produces a sense of calmness, order, beauty, cohesion. For example, using colors that work well together can create a harmonious composition. Harmony helps the artwork feel complete and comfortable to view. 12. SPD, the 12th principle, is space. Space refers to the area around, between, and within objects. There are two important types of space: Positive space is the area occupied by the main subject or objects. Negative space is the empty area surrounding the subject. Both are important. Sometimes, empty space can be just as powerful as the objects themselves. Proper use of space creates depth, balance, clarity, visual breathing room. Therefore, artists should not be afraid of empty spaces. Application in different art forms. Now, let's see how these principles are applied in different fields of art. Painting in painting, balance organizes the visual elements. Contrast can highlight the main subject. Unity connects colors and forms. Sculpting in sculpture, proportion helps create realistic or expressive figures. Scale affects the impact of the sculpture. Rhythm can guide viewers as they move around the artwork. Architecture often uses symmetry to create stability. Patterns can decorate structures. Harmony helps different architectural elements work together. Textile in textile weaving. Patterns create decorative appeal. Repeated motifs create rhythm. Balance ensures that the design is visually attractive. Graphic design in graphic design. Emphasis draws attention to important information. Contrast improves readability. Unity creates a consistent visual identity. These examples show that the principles of design are not limited to traditional artwork. They are also important in digital media, advertising, presentations, websites, fashion, product design, and everyday visual communication. Why are these principles important? Understanding artistic design and composition provides many benefits. First, they help students develop creativity and artistic confidence. Second, they improve the ability to analyze and appreciate artworks. Third, they help artists communicate ideas and emotions more effectively. Fourth, they help create designs that are aesthetically pleasing and meaningful. Fifth, they teach students how artists solve visual problems. And finally, these principles can be applied to everyday activities such as creating posters, presentations, digital graphics, product designs, and social media content. More importantly, studying design principles develops critical thinking. Students begin asking, why did the artist place this object here? Why is this color brighter? Why is this area empty? Why does my eye immediately focus on this part? These questions help us understand that successful artworks are not created randomly. Artists make purposeful decisions. Now, let us review the 12 principles of artistic design and composition. Balance creates stability. Emphasis creates a focal point. Contrast creates visual difference and excitement. Unity makes the artwork feel complete. Variety prevents boredom. Rhythm creates repetition and visual flow. Movement guides the viewer's eyes. Proportion establishes relationships between sizes. Scale communicates size and impact. Pattern creates organized repetition. Harmony creates pleasing relationships among elements. And space provides room, depth, balance, and clarity. Remember, these principles are guidelines, not rigid rules. Artists can follow them, combine them, or intentionally break them to achieve a particular effect. Ultimately, good art is not simply about having artistic talent. It also involves planning, observation, creativity, and purposeful decision-making. Whether you are creating a painting, sculpture, textile, craft, poster, photograph, or digital artwork, understanding artistic design and composition will help you become a more thoughtful creator and a more informed viewer of art. So, the next time you look at an artwork, don't just ask, is it beautiful? Ask yourself, how did the artist create that effect? Look for the balance, find the emphasis, observe the contrast. Notice the rhythm, movement, pattern, harmony, proportion, scale, unity, variety, and space. When you learn to see these principles, you begin to understand not only what an artwork looks like, but also how and why it works. Thank you for watching, and remember,
art becomes more meaningful when creativity is guided by thoughtful design.
Explain why the principles of artistic design and composition. are important in creating effective works of art and describe how they contribute to making an artwork visually appealing and meaningful.
The principles of artistic design and composition are important because they help artists organize the elements of art in a way that makes work visually appealing, meaningful, and easy to understand. These principles serve as guides for arranging lines, shapes, colors, textures, and space to create balanced and effective artworks. They help artists communicate ideas, emotions, and messages clearly while capturing the viewer's attention.